Well, I have been debating on whether I want to talk or just sand. So I thought I would do both. But first, what I want to talk about is coffee. That is not coffee. That is bouillon. Okay, this is Texas Rumble. I just texted the fella his options for wood. And now I am at 400. Now I'm going to sand it to 600. And in the meantime, while I'm sanding, I think I can sand and talk. I just want to touch on this here. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. And when I was a child, we had nuclear drills in school where they would have us get down underneath our desks as if that would protect us from a nuclear bomb or fallout. But I guess it was better than standing out in the open. And it was talked about on the news how Russia's going to kill us, Russia's going to nuke us. And as a child, it affected me terribly. I mean, I used to go to bed thinking about Russia's going to kill us, Russia's going to nuke us. And 6 decades later, I look back and I wonder, what was the reason for frightening kids and families? I don't have an answer, but it sure affected my youth, my childhood. And now, here we are, 6 decades later. It's like Dementia Joe is purposely trying to bait Russia into sending nukes our way. So, here we are again. What is it? What's old is new again? There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, anyway, I'm out here sanding on a knife trying to forget all the bad stuff going on in the world. So here's what I'm going to talk about. I was really sick, and I had been sick for months, and it slowly affected my energy and coordination and my happiness. I mean, I was miserable. I was feeling so bad. I finally went to the hospital. And after 4 days of being on massive quantities of antibiotics, I finally started feeling a little bit better. And I told you what it is, and it's the acronym is SCAD, I forget. But it's segmented, colon, ulcerative, anyway, bad stuff. And so I've been eating very small meals. I still feel a little bit weak. My stamina really has a long way to go. But I do feel way better than I did. But even that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I'm talking about is while I was in the hospital, before I went to the hospital, I was so sick I couldn't even drink coffee. I would drink a half a cup, and that was just it. And let me start at the beginning. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. And from that day one, I started drinking coffee. So 45 years, 46 years? I've been drinking coffee for 46 years, and I'm just going to give you an example of the amount of coffee I drank previous to me getting sick. I would have 3 cups in the morning, and each cup was about 140 milligrams of caffeine. I say cup, but it was more like a mug. So that is an enormous amount of caffeine. And then on top of that, I would come down here and I would drink a cup this size here of coffee, and sometimes two. And on top of that, I drank either a Mountain Dew or a Diet Coke. I have Mountain Dew down here and Diet Coke at the house. So I drank probably 700 milligrams of caffeine every day for the last, God, probably 5, 6 years. And then I was a long haul trucker. So, man, I lived on coffee. I had a thermos of coffee, and when the thermos was empty, I pulled over and filled it up. So I drank coffee every minute of every waking moment while I was a long haul trucker for 35, 40 years. That is a ton of caffeine. And you know, caffeine is not detrimental to you if you drink it in a normal amount. But I think we can all agree the amount that I was drinking it was far from a normal amount. So anyway, I had been in the hospital, and a couple days previous, I'd had just a sip or two of coffee before I would get sick. And in the hospital, I had no coffee for 4 days, and my God, the headache was almost unbearable. So I came home, finally, and I decided I wasn't going to drink any more coffee and just deal with I've already started the headache withdrawals, or the withdrawal headache. And, you know, wasn't going to take any more effort on my part just to endure it for another week. Well, here it is. It's been a month, or just a few days more than a month. And I'm going to tell you the amount that my body depended on caffeine was shocking, because really I had absolutely no energy. I woke up in the morning and went and sat in my recliner, and I went to sleep again. And I napped all day long. And slowly I've been feeling like I'm finally getting over, my body is finally getting used to not having caffeine in it. And I'll tell you, on top of the caffeine, I had fake sugar. I used Splenda, and I would use 2 heaping teaspoons of Splenda and a heaping teaspoon of powdered cream, fake cream, you know. So I was ingesting a ton of stuff that was terrible for me. And now I'm not. I'm not drinking soda. In the morning, here's what I do in the morning. I have discovered that what I really like is, number one, the ritual of sitting there in the morning and drinking a hot beverage, talking with my wife, watching the news. So in the morning, what I drink is a cup of hot chocolate. And there are those that are going to tell me hot chocolate has caffeine in it. But it says on the package how much caffeine it has. And when you compare 6 milligrams of caffeine in a cup of hot chocolate to 700 milligrams throughout the day, I don't think 6 milligrams is a drop in the bucket. I don't think my system is even recognizing 6 milligrams of caffeine. So, and then for my second cup, I have a cup of hot apple cider. Oh, this is almost to polishing stage. So, I'm still having very mild headaches, and not all day, I'll tell you when I'm having them is when I get up in the morning and my body is expecting coffee and it's severely disappointed. I have just a mild, tiny headache right in the front of my head, right in my forehead, and it goes away pretty quickly when I drink a hot chocolate and then apple cider, a hot apple cider. So, I'm feeling better. I'm finally quit taking the massive doses of antibiotics. That was scary, taking that much antibiotics. All right, now we get the bevel. So my wife is taking off on her motorcycle on a long ride. She's going to Dangerfield. And it's just me and the dogs here right now. Her and I did go on a bit of a ride the other day, and it was a nice ride. I don't feel as though I have my motorcycle riding confidence back yet, because I am still a little weak, just a little. And that motorcycle I have is a huge motorcycle, and it takes all my muscles to keep it up when I'm at a stop sign or, you know, a stoplight. So we didn't ride far. And let me tell you what I'm eating. Oh, let me tell you about my sugar. You know, I am borderline diabetic. And I have changed my diet. And I'm not looking for input on what I should eat or what I shouldn't eat or why this is going to do that. I'm telling you what I've done and how it's affecting me. And I have... First of all, I lost a little weight, and I'm not even, you know, that's not something that's on the forefront of my mind. It's just happening because I've adopted a new way of eating, and that's eating far, far smaller meals than I typically eat. Now, I'm a fat guy. For those of you that stumble across this video and don't know me, I'm a fat guy. I'm 6'1", and I did weigh close to 300, and I'm at 280 now. And actually, I stepped on the scale this morning. It was like 279, but I'm not gonna go by pounds. I'm gonna go by 5 pounds. Anyway, so here's what I'm eating. In the morning, I'm eating a 1-egg toasted sandwich with a little bit of butter on it. Nothing else. I miss my omelets, but I can't keep eating in that amount if I want to stop or not get on insulin, you know. I mean, they wanted me to take metformin, and I did for a while, but I lost a little weight, and my sugar came down to a reasonable level where I wouldn't be required to take metformin. And right now, I checked my sugar this morning. It was 126. Yesterday, it was 140. The day before that, it was 96. And I'm doing everything I can not to be a diabetic. So, okay, in the morning, I eat a single egg toasted sandwich with just a little butter on it. And throughout the day, I have a cracker if I get hungry, or I drink bouillon. This is low sodium, so don't worry telling me how much salt I'm consuming. I'm not. And you know, I have these little Hunt's puddings that are like 10 calories. I'm not counting calories, but if I can consume things that are low in calorie and they keep me from pigging out, I'm going to do that, and that's what I'm doing, and then it's working. I don't expect to lose massive quantities quickly, but because it took years, decades to get this fat, it's probably going to take a long time to not be this fat. I mean, I'm not going to do anything drastic or unreasonable. I'm going to eat enough to keep me healthy and getting back to feeling my strength. So in the evening, if I make it that far without eating anything else, usually, like I say, a pudding or a Jell-O. My wife has started making Jell-O for me because it has like 0 calories, and it keeps me from eating. So I eat a sweet potato, And sweet potatoes are two things. They're high in fiber, which was part of my ongoing problem, was I wasn't eating enough fiber. I was eating way too much meat and not enough fiber. So that caused a lot of problems in my colon and intestines and stomach too. So that's what I'm doing. A sweet potato at night. I'm cooking it in the microwave. It takes about 8 minutes to cook it in the microwave. And then I take it out, I put a little butter on it, a little salt, a little pepper. And I used to hate sweet potatoes, but for some reason I started liking them. I guess because it's that, or, you know, I have to find something else to eat that's similar in nutrition. So that's where I'm at health-wise. I feel better than I did when I went into the hospital. I do not feel like I'm 100%. But, you know, I didn't feel 100% for months and months and months. It would be really cool if I could heat treat this today. Holy crap, that's good bouillon. Now, we are in a real predicament. We've got ourselves involved in something over there that if we give up, America loses face, and if Putin gives up, he loses face. And no good can come out of it for anyone. We never should have got involved. It's none of our business. As a friend of mine in Croatia says, not my monkey, not my circus. And that fella who lives in Tula, Russia, who I've been buying my wood from, I have not seen a post from him on Facebook in quite a while. I hope they haven't shut down internet. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't know what to think. But I know that there's a lot of people like me and you and Oleg in Russia who want nothing to do with killing Ukrainians, or Ukrainians killing Russians, and Americans getting themselves involved. I mean, I just don't get how we are always the cannon fodder. By we, I mean people who are just average wage earners, laborers, not the rich people. Let me remind you, you know, there was people that, and I was one of them, I gotta admit, I fell for Trump. But let's remember a couple of things. He's the one that started the vaccine and still to this day brags about the vaccine with all the knowledge we have now about what it's done to people and how it's hurt people. And now the CDC has come out and admitted that they did not test it against transmission. And the CDC has admitted a whole bunch of things. It's all public knowledge, it's all on their own website, that we were led to believe and lied to. and cajoled and coerced even my own doctor. Have you taken the shot? No. Are you going to get it? No. Why not? Why don't you take the shot? I got the shot. Everybody here got the shot. Anyway, my own doctor. And he lost people. He had people that quit because they did not want to take it. And now he's hired them back. So Trump was, and he still brags about it at his meet and greets, you know. Still brags about getting that vaccine for everybody. And that was a bad thing for everybody who took it and everybody who has lost a job because they saw the writing on the wall and refused to take it. And let's not forget this. This is public knowledge. Trump was a sports player. He played sports while he was in the college. And he got a draft notice. Suddenly, this man who could run around on a football field and play rugby and tennis and all that, suddenly he has bone spurs and can't go to Vietnam. That's Donald Trump. I never understood why the left was calling him Captain Bone Spurs while he was running for president. And don't get me wrong, if he runs again, I'll vote for him again, because I liked the America that we had during his 4 years. But I'm not fooled. And Joe Biden has written books about himself, what a wonderful guy he is, and what a sportsman he was. And he played football, he played tennis, he played hockey, he played rugby, and he was a star player, star athlete in all of these. And then his draft notice came up, and what do you know? He developed a sudden case of asthma. This healthy young man who was a lifeguard and beat up corn pop. Now he can't go to Vietnam like all the poor folks are because he has a very bad case of asthma. And these are the people that are sending our kids to die. These are the people that are leaving Americans over in Afghanistan and leaving equipment to the Taliban. And I'm just ashamed of my country. I gotta be honest. And you know what me and my wife have resigned ourselves to? Just staying alive till the Lord comes to take us. That's it. I don't think our country is ever going to go back to the country we all loved and knew. Now, there is a certain very tiny minority of the population who loves the country we have now. And by that, I'm talking about the BLM, who serve no time or pay no bail for committing atrocities against the people and burning buildings. And the illegal aliens that are just pouring into this country unfettered, unchecked. Those people love this country we have right now. The LGBT group, they love this. They love being able to teach kids about drag in 3rd grade or 1st grade. And this video is probably going to get blocked. You know that? Because I'm talking about that. I'm talking about things they do not want people to talk about. So, my wife and I have done a lot of figuring. You'll know I got a little gas and a little bit of propane and a generator, and I can survive life without the benefit of electricity and water and food for, probably a few months. I could even survive a winter with no heat because, we don't get that cold here. I mean, we might hit freezing overnight, and the next day we're up into the 40s or the 50s. We can bundle up. I'm talking about if we have an EMP or something like that, if we lose electricity. But, I don't know how long I want to live in a world like that, to be honest. I basically want to live long enough for my dogs to die naturally, I know that may sound weird to people, but, there's my boy right there. There's my breezy boy. And, he's my buddy. Been my best friend for 13 years now. And, Sonny's at the house, she's 15. Lucy's at the house, she's 10. So these dogs don't have a lot of years left, and when they do pass on, my wife and I, we are ready to go anytime. Our bags are packed. I kind of wish we didn't live here, because if there is a nuclear war, I've mentioned this before, I live about 25 miles west of a Strategic Air Command, a SAC base, Barksdale Air Force Base. And I'm sure that'll be, one of the top targets. And I don't think the explosion would get us. I think the radiation would. All right, I'm gonna move up to 800 now. That's 600, I'm gonna hit it with 800 and then go buff it. What has surprised the world, though, is two things, really. How well and determined the Ukrainians are, and how poor and unenthusiastic the Russians are doing. They have massive, massive casualties. And Ukraine has about 3,000 POWs. And granted, we're feeding them probably intel and arms, but I sure thought Russia was far more modern than what they have. They've had some equipment failures that were equipment from, the Cold War era and the 1950s and 60s. I mean, antique equipment. They have no smart weapons, and there's talk that Russia may be just a paper tiger with nukes. And that may be. I don't know. But I'm shocked that they didn't just roll right in and take all of Ukraine. I mean, I certainly thought Russia would have been capable of that. They're a massive country. Massive. And they've got a lot of people in the army. Or had, because now... And that's another fear I have, that the guy I know, I only know him through buying the wood, and I hope he hasn't been conscripted, because from what I understand, Russia wasn't letting people leave that were fighting age. Neither was Ukraine. But isn't that a scary proposition, that you can't leave your country and that you will be forced to take a gun and kill people you got no problem with, or be killed. And that's what a lot of the Russian youth are saying. I've got no desire to go kill Ukrainians, none at all. And there are people leaving Russia, some in sailboats, some just escaping to countries over the border because they have no desire to take part in this war. I think it's a different thing when somebody is attacking your country and you got nowhere to run, like Ukraine, for instance. I think it's a whole different mindset when you're fighting for your family and your homeland. And even at my age, if we were attacked in this country and there was ground troops in this country, I think I could do a lot of guerrilla type damage. I have some long range weapons that would play hell. So you sure have to look at this from all angles. Looking down at it, it looks fine, like I've got all the previous scratches out. But if I turn my head a little bit, I can see right up here I do not. And as soon as I feel strong again, I think I'm going to go ahead and dig my well. And I'm also, I've talked about getting some chickens again, and my wife doesn't want chickens, and I kind of don't want chickens either. But because it's just one more thing I got to take care of here. I can't go on any motorcycle rides, and if I have chickens and there's nobody that can take care of them, but on the other hand, I do want to have some level of self-sufficiency, like eggs, because I think we are going to see inflation and a lack of goods that we have never before seen in this country. And that's another thing, they're bragging here. See how this stuff comes out, this information comes out just before midterms? Two things. The Saudi Arabians, you know what they did? They just reduced the amount of oil they're going to sell us by 2 million barrels a day. And Biden is pissed, and he said some bad things about the Saudis, and the Saudis have come out and said, well, here, America, listen to this. Your president asked us to keep the price down on oil until after the midterms. Of course he did. And I believe that without a doubt. And I also think that they're going to stave off as much inflation as possible until after the midterms. I don't think it's a Democrat thing. I think it's a politician thing. You want your constituents, your voters, to be as happy as possible before you have to drop the bomb on them. Oh yeah, this is what I was telling you. Social Security, they have announced that next year they're going to come out with a record-breaking Social Security increase of 8.7%. Okay, sounds great, right? 8.7%. That would give me about an extra $100 a month. $90, $95 a month, something like that. The last time they gave us, I think it was a 4% raise, my Medicare went up about 7%. So they gave it to me on this end and took even more from me on that end. And then they increased your deductibles. I mean, what a racket, what a racket. And I still think about if I die before my wife, I don't know how she's going to be able to live on what she gets. Because the taxes, she wouldn't even be able to pay the property taxes here on her Social Security. Sickening, frightening. And 8.7% increase in Social Security doesn't even begin to cover the amount that we've had to pay more for the same food. And we are eating a lot less. And that's another reason why I'm eating less. We can't afford to eat like I've been eating. So it's kind of a race between my wife and I to see who can die first. Part of me hopes that she dies first so she doesn't have to live without me protecting her with guns and, you know, and my added income. But I am ready to go. I'm not willing to do anything to hasten it, but here's an example. Just a couple of months ago, and I eat a lot of eggs, right? And we buy them in the 18 count carton. And just 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, they were $2.18 for 18 eggs. And now they're $4.18. And they're saying it's only an 8.7% increase in recession, you know? Yeah. I guess they're counting on a whole bunch of people who can't do math. How's that stimulus check working out for you? Gave you $600 and you're going to pay $4,500 more a year just to keep yourself in food and electricity. That's another thing, electricity. Our electricity is just going through the roof. Through the roof. I have a friend who typically gets $200 a month electricity bills. He has a big double wide. And somebody's home all day, so they have to keep it heated and cooled, you know. And it went from 200 to 600. That's incredible. All right, last of this piece of paper, and I think we're ready for buffing. I'm gonna buff it and then have a look at it and see if I missed any big scratches, and I really don't think I have. And then I will heat treat it, and I'll put it in the tempering oven, and tomorrow we'll come back and clean it up. Put the handles on it. So, I doubt there's anybody here after all this time. 40 minutes. Okie dokie. If you've watched this, have a good Friday, y'all. Okay, I just remembered we got our new tax notice. Earlier I was talking about the increase in prices and everything. Our county has decided that this double-wide mobile home, this little mobile home, is suddenly, from last year to this year, is worth $12,000 more. Can you freaking believe it?
Yeah, nowhere ever as mobile homes.
Yeah, never in the history of mobile homes have they gained in value year after year. And my shop mobile home down there, how much did that go up? A couple thousand?
Yeah, $2,000.
$2,000, man.
And that mobile home is 30-something years
37 years old. Yeah, you couldn't give it away. They couldn't haul it out of here. They won't even let them pull it down the road. It's so old. But according to them, our two little homes here, one of them's a shop, is $14,000 higher in value. And this is why old people have to sell their homes and move out of Texas.